Sunday morning here at 105.5 WDHA on the Jersey Magazine. It may be February, but we're talking baseball, and I have two guests with me, Kevin Gallagher and Jeff Frye. Jeff, good morning and welcome to WDHA.
Morning, Jim.
Morning, Jim.
Kevin has a book out called Baseball, Teach Your Kid to Hit So They Don't Quit, which I think is a tremendous idea. Kevin, where'd the idea from the book come from?
The idea from the book came from something that's been inside me a long time, but eventually I wrote the book. And I wrote the book with the intention of trying to teach or give a process to parents so they could teach their kids to make contact with the baseball, have fun, and stay with the game and create a baseball fan for life. Most parents don't know how to teach kids to hit. A lot of coaches don't know how to teach kids to hit. And so this provides a process to the parent that allows them to make sense to their child and have them hit the ball and wind up staying with the game. And it's really geared towards the average kid and not the exceptional kid. This process, as Jeff will tell you, is a process that can be used right up through the major leagues. And you can hit 290 in a 9-year career like Jeff did with it. But it's mainly for the average kid that wants to play the game and nobody knows how to teach them. And if we don't teach them how to hit, they're going to quit. So that's what it's about. And
Jeff, what attracted you to this?
Well, it goes right along with the way I learned to hit as a kid. And when Kevin and I don't really remember who, it was probably Kevin, reached out to me on social media, asked me if I was interested in reading his book. And I said, yeah. And he sent me a book and I loved it. And it just kind of started from that. And it's, I think with what we've seen the past few years in baseball, it's, a lot of strikeouts and home runs and walks. And it's taken away from the entertainment value of the game. And, when somebody like me, who's been a baseball fan since he was about 6 years old, and I'm 55 now, when I have a hard time watching a baseball game, so something's wrong. And it just resonated with me, what Kevin talked about in the book.
Yeah, it's been said that hitting a baseball, and I believe this, hitting a baseball is the single hardest thing to do in sport. And we seem to complicate it so much, but, some guys can boil it down to see ball, hit ball. And I know that's an oversimplification of it, but when you think about it, isn't the most important thing to see the ball? Like, that's the thing you absolutely have to do, no matter what style of hitting you have. You have to see the ball.
Yeah. I mean, watch the ball hit the bat is what I was always told when I was a little kid. Just watch the ball hit the bat. And if you can watch the ball hit the bat, you're going to make contact more times than not. And it's just, I think what we've seen in the game the last few years, it's just like you said, overcomplicating everything. And I think we just need to get back to the KISS method, which is keep it simple, stupid, and let these kids have fun.
Kevin, you played at a relatively high level. You, in fact, are a member of the Pace University Athletics Hall of Fame. You were captain of the baseball team for, I think, 3 years, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
How did it get so complicated? How did we allow the game that can be so simple to get so crazy and complicated?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the game of baseball. The game of baseball has been the same forever. It's what people are doing with it, right? Like Jeff said. Now, the book we wrote, and the book has now moved into another movement, which we'll talk about, which is Save the Game, all related, right? People do complicate it because they don't know what the hell they're doing. So if they're listening to other people and then trying to apply that. The way Jeff hit the baseball for 9 years, he saw the ball. My book was written with a video and illustration in it. And basically what it's talking about is getting the barrel of the bat on the same plane of the ball as quick as you can for as long as you can to create multiple points of contact along that path, right? We're talking about a fastball primarily here. But So that gives the kids more opportunity to hit the ball. It could be down the right field line, could be down the left field line, but you got to have an opportunity to hit it. The way they're swinging now with the upswing, there's only one path for the ball, one coming in and the bat coming up. There's only one spot to hit it. That's why we see 200 strikeouts in Major League Baseball, because you got to have perfect timing, and kids don't have perfect timing. So I don't know how I got this complicated, but we need to unravel it.
And Jeff, going to what Kevin just spoke about, I know you played with both of these guys with the Red Sox. I remember a weekend game, and it was on one of the networks that had the game at the time, and Mo Vaughn and Nomar Garciaparra, two completely different hitters. Both guys could hit for some power, but they did a demonstration. And this has got to be back in maybe 99, maybe even earlier, but a demonstration of Vaughn's swing. And Vaughn had that uppercut. And if he got a hold of it, it was gone. And Garcia Parra's bat, they talked about being in the hitting zone longer. So as much as we think this launch angle thing is all new, this has been going on for quite some time. How much did you pick up from Garcia Parra in terms of that hitting style that he had?
Well, I mean, I'd had 3 or 4 years in the big leagues before I became teammates with Mo Vaughn. First, I was a teammate with Mo in '96, and then Nomar, I think, came up at the end of the year in '96, and then '97 he turned into Nomar. And Nomar was, one of the most incredible hitters I'd ever seen. I'd never seen anybody that could hit the first pitch, fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, anything like you knew it was coming. And Mo was a completely different type of hitter. But the key to this is that they both did it differently. They had their own unique styles, and they were both successful at it. And I think what we've seen come into play now is that everybody's trying to teach there's one way to do this, and there's not. And you can look at the greatest hitters that ever played this game, and none of them hit the same. And I think that the cookie cutter style of teaching hitting is a joke. And I think we have to let each kid develop their own unique style and find what works for them and be as good as they can possibly be at doing it the way they do it.
I think I had mentioned to you sometime back on social media, Jeff, that I had an opportunity to spend quite a bit of time with Clint Hurdle. And I don't know if you've ever seen any of Clint's hitting talks, but he has this wonderful slideshow that he does, and he probably pulls up 15 to 20 different hitters. And like you just said, there's no one way to do it. And he's got a picture of Rose, and he's got a picture of this guy and that guy and different stances and where their hands are and what they're doing. But there are constants that all good hitters do. Obviously, one, see the ball, getting into the middle of the ball to drive it with some power. And that was one of the things that struck with me about Hurdle's presentation was there is no one way to do it. Why do you think that some of these hitting instructors are doing this? There's my way, and that's the only way. Why do you think that is?
Because they're preying on the parents that don't know any better. And they're making a lot of money giving lessons, teaching this one style and claiming that everybody hits this way. If you look at the video, you can see that everybody is hitting this one certain way. And here I am, I consider myself pretty knowledgeable in the game of baseball, and I can't see what they claim is happening. And I think it's just a Ponzi scheme to get all these parents to bring their kids in there and get lessons. And it's funny, Clint Hurdle was a hitting coach when I got traded to the Rockies in 2000. So I was with Clint for 2 months at the end of the season, and I hit 356 for the Rockies and just under 100 at bats. But I was 9 for 20 as a pinch hitter, and that was because of Clint Hurdle, because I was kind of a platoon guy, and Clint talked to me one day and says, "So what do you think when you're pinch hitting? Do you think you have to win the game? It's your job to win the game?" And I was like, "Yeah, I kind of do feel that." And he goes, "Why? All these other guys have already had 4 at bats and we're losing. It's not your fault." He goes, "Go up there, get a good pitch to hit, and take a good swing. If you hit the ball hard somewhere, that's all you can do." And I went 9 for 20 as a pinch hitter, mainly because of what Clint taught me.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed the amount of time I've been able to spend with Clint. We're talking with Kevin Gallagher and Jeff Frye this morning here on the Jersey Magazine with baseball starting up soon. I know a lot of little league teams are starting to get their reps in, and we've got high school starting on March 8th for pitchers and catchers. Kevin's book is called Teach Your Kid to Hit So They Don't Quit. And that's always been one of the things that I've heard that should be the goal of a youth coach, not to win, but make sure the kid comes back and make sure that he has some fun. And one of the things you have in here, Kevin, the 5 pillars for success: bat control, make sure that the bat isn't swinging the kid, it's lighting up for him; choke up if necessary; strength, confidence, and getting from starting point A to starting point B. And I think of those 5, confidence is probably the toughest to build, to instill in a kid. How do you recommend coaches do that, Kevin?
Well, I think confidence comes from success, right? And success comes from some of the pillars that we talk about there, which is having control of the bat. One of the biggest mistakes kids make or parents make is giving a bat to a kid that's too heavy, right? And so he's dragging that bat through, and he's creating his own uppercut swing because of that. And so you swing and miss and swing and miss, you're not going to have confidence. But you start hitting the ball a couple of times, you're going to have confidence. And confidence is going to come from a little bit of strength. Now, I know the kids are small, But at some point along the line, they need to get, they don't need to lift weights like this, but Jeff will tell you it's in the forearms, one of the quickness of the bat. So choke up, light bat, quickness of the bat, see the ball and hit it a couple of times, and you're going to have confidence, But the point in the book is once again, it's not to make the kids the best kid on the field, but to make them the happiest kid. Hit the ball, get dirty, have some fun, high five your friends, and want to come back tomorrow. And that creates a baseball fan. And to Jeff's point, there's no one way to teach it. This is a way to teach it, not in my book. It's a very, very simple process that a parent can teach their kid, and most times the kid's going to hit the ball. From there, they can change their style as they go forward if they have talent. But this is an opportunity to get the kid to hit the ball and stay with the game. To Jeff's point again, in your point, move on, hit the ball up, and if you can do it, do it. But today, everybody's doing it. You don't need 9 sluggers in the lineup. Otherwise, you get a boring game. There's no action between the home runs or the strikeouts.
Well, chicks supposedly dig the long ball, I guess. It's Jersey Magazine on a Sunday morning in February. We're talking baseball with Kevin Gallagher and Jeff Frye here at 105.5 WDHA. As Jeff, I know you're aware of this, hitting Twitter can be an ugly place sometimes with some of the comments that go back and forth. And there was someone in the Yankee organization, his name escapes me at the moment, but he came up and he was talking about the hitting philosophy was hit strikes hard. And I was kind of surprised by the reaction that I got from some people who were kind of deriding that. And, we've talked about earlier about it's a difficult thing to do. You want to keep it as simple as possible. What do you think it was about that hit strikes hard that triggered so many people?
Well, it's just, I think what we've seen is everybody's coming up with new names of things that we've been doing forever. Right. So, just hit the ball hard on the line or whatever. And now this new, I think the big thing with what he said was that it's something easy for the players to remember when people from other organizations ask them, what's the Yankees philosophy? It's like, really, these are grown men and they can only remember 3 words. We have to dumb it down for them. This is the Yankees philosophy, hit strikes hard. And I just think it came across as something kind of silly, some little slogan that the Yankee organization has that, if you've been involved in baseball at all, you're supposed to swing at strikes and the goal is to hit the ball hard. So.
Yeah, Ted Williams always talked about get a good swing at a good pitch. That's been his mantra for years. The book goes into detail about an 8-step top hand hitting program. And I've always thought that the top hand was your power hand. And you see a lot of batters do one-handed drills with that. Kevin, from that 8 steps, is there one that stands out for you as the most important for a young hitter that parents should really be concentrating on?
Well, the 8 steps are something that you want to teach a parent so they can own it, go teach their kid. But once you get a kid playing ball, you can get rid of 5 of those steps. And then you're really talking about the soft toss, the tee, and the batting practice. Once you get the top hand in your mind, in your brain, that's where it's going to control the bat. Wherever the top hand goes, the barrel of the bat goes. So if you're going to go underneath, that's where the barrel is going. So when I talk about point A to point B, that's the way Jeff hit. Short, compact swing. You can wait a little bit longer because it's a shorter swing. Then go boom, point A to point B. As far as the most important step, they're all important until they learn it. It's really getting in your brain that the top hand, and see the ball hit it, but his top hand is going to control the barrel of the bat. Once you get that into your brain, 5 steps go out the window. I mean, the big leaguers, Jeff will tell you, they do the soft toss, they'll do the tee, and they'll do batting practice. That's what they do at the big league level. Once you get the kids to understand the process in their head, it's about top hand. Then you can go to those last 3 steps.
Jeff, you've parodied a number of odd, shall we say, videos, training tips that coaches have done over the years. In fact, there was one that was on the MLB Network. I think it was last year with Billy Ripken that was really uproariously funny. What was one of the oddest drills that you've seen at the professional level a guy do that kind of struck you?
You mean in my time or now?
Yes, in your time, yes.
I don't remember anything really. I mean, I'd see some guys swinging sledgehammers and things, but that was just really to build strength and also, once you pick up a bat after swinging a sledgehammer, it feels the illusion is that it's, like a toothpick in your hands and you could hit anything like that. But I don't really remember any crazy drills. We did, like Kevin said, we did soft toss. Front toss was actually just becoming a thing toward the end of my career, and I wasn't really a big fan. I like soft toss and live BP. But, like you said, some of the things we're seeing now is they're hitting with fishing nets and PVC pipes and hula hoops and balls under their arms now. And it's pretty funny stuff.
I think the
Every
reaction.
time I see you come up with one of them videos, Jeff, I say that can't be any more. There's no more crazy ideas, and every day something else pops up. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
I think mine is the swimming noodle, the one you did.
You got to snap it.
Kevin Gallagher and Jeff Frye are my guests this morning on the Jersey Magazine at 105.5 WDHA. Little League moms and dads are getting ready for their kids. Practices will be starting soon. High school baseball starts in just about a month. Kevin's book, Baseball, Teach Your Kid How to Hit So They Don't Quit. And again, that I think is the really important thing. One of the other things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I know fans are up in arms about this, the lockout, and provided there isn't some kind of movement between the time that we're taping this interview and Sunday morning when it actually airs, we're getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Kevin, tell me about Save the Game.
Well, I'll let Jeff talk about the lockout a little bit more. He's more aligned to that, but Save the Game is exactly what it talks about. Save the game. It brings it back to the youth of America. It brings back the Little Leagues over there in Jersey, all those things. What we're talking about here is that the essential part of this is that the youth of our country are not engaged with baseball anymore. The games become too boring for them. They're brought up with different generational trends and habits. They want action. They want things to happen faster. And there's plenty of venues and platforms for them to go to for that, from Netflix to Amazon to MMA to UFC to NBA, NFL, but it's not baseball. There's no action there. And part of the reason is that because we have the all-power swing, which causes too much non-action in between home runs. So there's no balls being put in play. Kids aren't watching it, so they're not playing it. And so what we're trying to do is save the game. And the way we're trying to do that is bring attention to the fact that baseball could be relevant in 15 years, because the average age of a TV viewer is 57 in baseball. In 15, 20 years, they're gone. What customer is going to come up and support the game? And right now they're not watching the game. So baseball could have a major awakening in 15 years, where they don't have a customer base. And we're trying to draw attention to that today by getting 1 million signatures online at savethegameus.com. We're asking the baseball fan to go there, sign that. Jeff I will get those 1 million signatures, put it in a bundle, give it one loud, powerful voice for the Major League, for the baseball fan, for us to go and talk to MLB and bring some solutions to the dilemmas that we're seeing today.
Jeff, I've met Rob Manfred a couple of times. I don't know him at all, but I have met him. He doesn't strike me as a stupid guy. In fact, he strikes me as a very smart guy. But some of the things that are happening at the game under his watch are bizarre at the very least.
Yeah, that's an understatement. I think if you follow me on Twitter, which I know you do, that I'm not a big Rob Manfred fan, and a lot of the changes to the game, the rule changes they're experimenting with, they're doing all these things because the game is boring. Okay, so why is the game boring? Because we brought in so many non-baseball people in front offices that are supposed to be coming up with all these algorithms to how you win baseball games, and they're eliminating the human element out of it. And the guys that are in the big leagues, they didn't have all this stuff growing up, and now they get to the big leagues, and now we complicate everything, and these guys don't know what to do. And if you look at Major League Baseball last year, okay, we got expanded the rosters to 26 guys instead of 25. So we have 780 Major League Baseball players on opening day. Okay, 780 of the best players on the planet, and the Major League Baseball batting average last year was 243. The best players in the world can't get a hit one every 4 times. I mean, that's alarming to me. And I can barely watch a game. And I've been a sports agent for almost 20 years. And I just think what Rob has done is he's brought in a lot of outside factors that are hurting the game. And especially, it really bothered me last year during the playoffs when they pop up with DraftKings. You can gamble right now and go to these places and place your bet on the odds are 6-1 if this guy's going to get a hit or all this. And I'm like, so one of the greatest hitters in the history of this game is not allowed in the Hall of Fame, the all-time hits leader, because he gambled. And now we have gambling sites on the TV screen during playoff games. I think it's just so hypocritical, and Rob Manfred's behind it.
I think to Jeff's point too, and Jeff, you'll agree with me that the 243 is the batting average. But if the reason they're swinging that way is because the owners are paying people to swing that way and to hit home runs. Now, they're not hitting more home runs, Jim. More people are hitting home runs. They're hitting 35, 40 home runs. That's nice. It's not extraordinary, right? But they're all doing that. So there's a lot of swings and misses, a lot of strikeouts. If these guys wanted to, a lot of them, Jeff, they could revert back to contact hitting. They're tremendous athletes, and they can. But they're being taught that way and paid that way, so that's where they're going to swing. Now, Rob Manfred said this recently. He said the single biggest predictor of avidity for adults in sports is whether you played the game as a kid. Now, avidity is a big word for being eager or avid, or you're going to be playing the game. He said, if you didn't play the game as a kid, you're not going to be a fan. What we're saying is that kids aren't playing, they're not watching. In 15 years, the business of baseball needs customers. And without customers, they're going to go out of business. And so they're not playing the game because they're using this swing that Jeff is talking about, and they can't hit the ball, or they're not watching the game because it's too boring. Patrick Wilson, who's the COO of Little League, okay, he said that we have a generation of parents who have no interest or connection to baseball because they didn't play it as a kid. Our whole Save the Game movement is about getting the kids to be back interested in the game. And the only way we're going to do that is make the game interesting. There's 4 minutes between balls put in play. The kids don't want to watch that. They can go to other things that are very fast paced, and that's the way they were brought up. So, that's what we're trying to do with Save the Game, is tell Major League Baseball he needs to make some changes. And we got guys like Jeff and people that he played with that they'll listen to about putting more entertainment back into the game, so the kids will go to that venue as an entertainment venue. I'm
going to play devil's advocate for a second. I watched the NBA. I think the last 5 minutes of an NBA game are unwatchable, just unwatchable. And even the NFL, if we go back to the San Francisco-Dallas game a few weeks ago, the last 64 seconds of that game took almost 20 minutes of real time. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, and baseball's got the pace of play problem? And I get it. I understand, the 4 minutes between pitches. I understand that. But, NFL has the red zone channel, and it gives you the impression that there's always something happening in the game. 20 minutes to play 64 seconds of football. Again, that was almost unwatchable. I don't know how baseball competes with that NFL red zone channel. I don't know if they can. I don't even know if they should. I do think there are ways to speed the game up, but I think for baseball to where the pace of play problem is just wrong, the other sports have just as much of an issue, at least in my opinion. Right.
And just so you know, that last 64 seconds of that 49er Cowboy game, I was about to have a heart attack. I'm a 49er faithful, and I was sitting there watching it with my sons who both like the Cowboys, and it was like, man, we controlled this game the whole game, and now we're like giving them a chance at the end. But I understand what you're saying, the pace of play. But like Kevin explained sometimes, is, in football, it's not about the touchdown. It's the drive down the field. It's the 3rd and 5. It's that's the excitement level for fans, is the drive, not necessarily the touchdown or the field goal. It's the back and forth. And in baseball, all I know is I can barely watch a 3-hour baseball game. And I would used to watch, when they first came out with MLB Network, I would watch it, from the time a game started in the afternoon to the 10 o'clock game on the West Coast. And I couldn't get enough of it. And now it's difficult for me to make it through a game. So something's wrong.
Hey, Jim, those NFL playoff games last week drew 40 million people per game.
Yeah, wild.
The World Series drew 11 million people this year, down from 25 in 2008 and down from 42 million in 1982. The game's going in the wrong direction. It's not the length of the game. All them NFL games are 3.5 hours long, but there's something going on in the game. You might want to talk the last 60 seconds, but it's like I say, those drives down the field. People are on their feet for 15 minutes cheering as they go down the field. In baseball, they've relegated it to 30-second sudden event home run where they score the run, and everybody sits down and waits another hour. This is only 2.5 home runs on average hit per game for a home run to be hit. In baseball, like Jeff says, the rally is the drive. It's the 15 minutes when it's 1st and 3rd, 2nd and 3rd. Guy gets thrown out, ball gets away. Let's go Mets. Let's go Sox. That's called tension. That's called entertainment. That's called suspense. And that's the thing that's missing from the game today, because all the runs are scored on these single swing events. So the NBA and the NFL have figured out how to connect with the younger generation. Major League Baseball hasn't tried yet. They had the game on Nickelodeon with slime or something. I'm not watching it, but there's 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids that don't know that much about football, but they're heroes from Nickelodeon are on. They're watching them, say, introduce them to the game. They figured out, the NBA is fast, up and down, up and down, up. It's what the generation needs. And we sit around with 3 guys in suits talking about the game. And a lot of times talking about not about the game because there's nothing going on. They're talking about some TV show they watched or something else. So it's all about the next generation customer for baseball. That's the youth. And in 15 years, they're not going to be there. That's our point.
Jeff, what are your thoughts on what's going to happen here with the collective bargaining agreement? How far away do you think we are from a settlement?
I think we're very far. I don't believe that the owners are negotiating in good faith, which they never have done really, even back when I played. And I think the owners feel like they have the upper hand right now, which they usually do in the off season. They have the upper hand, but once the season is supposed to start and the players aren't playing and the owners aren't making any money, because nobody's going to stadiums and the TV revenue is not going to be there, then they're going to come to the table pretty quick. And, I kind of think that the owners think this is their chance to try and break the union, but I don't think that's going to happen.
For WDHA parents, I highly recommend the book from Kevin Gallagher, Baseball, Teach Your Kid to Hit So They Don't Quit. It really kind of simplifies it and allows you to understand what's going on so that you can help your kid. HittingSimple.com. I have that website correct, Kevin? HittingSimple.com.
Yes.
And
that's where the book is at. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have an older version of the book. The newer version has Jeff on the front cover, by the way, with a quote and his picture in there too. He endorsed the book, but yeah, that's the book. It's on HittingSimple.com, sold on Amazon. And the Save the Game is SaveTheGameUS.com. And we really encourage all the baseball fans. There's a lot of things wrong with baseball and everybody's complaining, but you got to try to do something. And we're trying to do something. And we're starting with the fan, collecting the voice of the fan, harnessing their discontent, and bringing it to MLB. They'll listen to guys like Jeff and the players that he had with suggestions on how to improve the game. We're not here to fight with MLB baseball. We're trying to align with them and try to find out some solutions so this game will be around in 15, 20 years when we might be gone, but our kids and grandkids, we don't want them to say, Grandpa, what was baseball?
And Jeff's website, SheGoneHitting.com. The end of your videos. SheGone is my favorite, Jeff. I really enjoyed. Jeff is a great follow, by the way, on social media.
Well, I appreciate it, Jim. I've had a lot of fun and a lot of opportunities are starting to come my way because of this. And I'm just, I'm happy that, Kevin and I have become friends through this. And, we're just doing our part to hopefully save the game that we love so much.
Let me add one thing about Jeff. When Jeff introduces himself often, he introduced himself as a 15-year professional baseball player that was a 30th round draft pick. And the reason I think that Jeff says he's a 30th round draft pick is the 30th round, you're not supposed to make it. Maybe you don't make it, right? Jeff will tell you he's undersized and whatnot. When he says that to the kids out there in Jersey, out there in the little leagues, what he's telling them is don't believe in somebody else when they tell you you're not good or you don't start. You have to believe in yourself, and you got to work hard because there's going to be a lot of people along the way in little league and high school that's going to say the other guy's better or you're not as good. If you believe in yourself, work hard, put the work in, put the preparation in, but always believe in yourself. There's going to be somebody along the way that's telling you you're not good enough and somebody else is better. And when Jeff says he's a 30th round draft pick, what he's saying is you can make it if you believe in yourself and you think you have the talent. Don't let somebody else tell you don't. Am I right, Jeff?
Oh yeah, I mean that I wear that as a badge of honor. That a 30th round draft pick as a senior at an NAIA school who went to a tryout camp that I wasn't even invited to, and I played 15 years and did pretty well, hit 290, and I was drafted at. I mean, I was graduated high school at 5'5", 135 pounds, and everybody told me I was too small, and I basically just said, okay, well, let's see if I can prove all of you wrong. And that day I made it to the big leagues, boy, I was like, man, I proved a lot of people wrong. And then the work starts. The work, it's great to get there, but I want to stay there because, I mean, what's better than playing the game you love and getting paid to do it? So it was a dream come true for me to get to play professional baseball.
Kevin, Jeff, I've enjoyed our time this morning here on the DHA Jersey Magazine. Best of luck with the book, Kevin, and the Save the Game movement as well. Let's go here. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Jim.